Okay, I got my die set here. This is the 40 caliber die set. We're going to be using both dies to make the jacket, and we're going to be using their 40 caliber punches. And we're going, if you have a 40 caliber die set, you're going to want to order the 9mm swage punch from them too, because what this will do is it'll allow you to recess the core into this jacket, so you don't have a soft point style bullet that'll deform on the feed ramp, or whether it's a Glock or whatever semi-auto pistol that you're using. All right, the die we're going to use is the point forming die. We're going to gut it completely. And we're going to be using this portion of the die as an ejector. Like this. We're going to manually stick it in by hand and push the jacket out, because we're going to start tapering one side of it down to start closing off the base. So I'm going to move this camera angle over to the press, and we're going to get going on this. Alright, take your swage punch. This is the one that's flat, not the concave one. It has a bleed hole in it, right? Stick it into the ram. Take your point forming die and start running it down a little bit. We're going to use some lubricant. What I have found that works great for lubricant in this application is Redding's Imperial sizing die wax. It helps keep it from sticking. Just give it a little bit there. Now stick this jacket looking thing, your jacket blank, in your die, and what you want to do is run the die down until you start feeling resistance, just like you would with a seating die or anything else. And you're going to stop. And what you're going to do is give it about a quarter turn, and you're going to keep moving down for a little bit, and there's like a sweet spot on here, and I'll show you what that is. And you'll see that the jacket is actually captive inside the die. I'm going to run my locking collar down up here, and as soon as you get to the point where you can drop this in and it pops the bullet out, is where you need to be. If you go too much, you'll start getting an accordion effect. You'll start crushing the jacket. And once you have the first one adjusted, the rest of them will be exactly the same, as long as your trim length is identical or close to identical. There we go. As you see, we're starting to taper it down right here. It's starting to look like a boat tail. And we're going to take it down a little bit further, and there's going to be a limit to where we can go. Once we find that limit, which that is nearly the limit, I'm going to give it just an eighth of a turn more and see what happens. If I crush it, no big deal. If you have a bunch of these jackets, it's not. You lose one or two, it's not a big deal, because you're only going to lose them during the setup portion of this. Alright? So we got this like that. Now I'm going to take some close-ups of this so you can see what we're doing once we're done at this juncture of the operation. Use firm, consistent, but slow pressure on the ram here. Otherwise you may use too much force, and the brass can only flow so much under pressure so fast before the rest of it starts trying to catch up to it and crushing it. There's a little burr inside this guy, so we can go and get the burrs out. We don't want anything inside of here that's going to cause us a problem when we seat the core. So basically what you got here is a pointed 10mm bullet with nothing inside of it, which is fine. That's what you want. Because what we're doing is we're slowly tapering the end of this down to where we can close it up. And I'm going to show you how we close it up. It's really, really easy. I was thinking about this last weekend, and so I ran out, got some tubing, and it worked. Okay, we got the first 5 that got done here. I'm going to change the camera angle, and we're going to remove this die. We're going to have to come back to this die eventually, and we don't need to use it again for this purpose, but we will reassemble it later. Okay, let's take a look here. You can see that we got the taper started right here. And the nice thing about using this brass tubing is fairly thin, and it doesn't require annealing at all. In fact, if you anneal it, you're going to crush them. That's what I've noticed. And now we're going to take this further in. We're going to start closing this base up. And what we're going to use is this guy right here. We're going to use the coarse swage punch that comes with the 40 caliber die set, and the only modification you need to do is take some emery paper and polish the inside of this a little bit, so when you start rolling the base in, it won't catch and start deforming. And in order to do that, we're going to use the actual coarse swage die. So I'm going to change the camera angle, and we're going to see the difference on this. Okay. We're going to take this guy, the coarse swage punch, we're going to lock it into the ram. Now we're going to use the coarse swage die, or the coarse heat die, because it does both really. I'm going to start running it down a little bit. You can't see the die, but you know what I'm talking about. We're going to take our lubricant, and we're going to lubricate right around this tapered area here, and we're going to put this on here. We're just going to guide it up with our fingers. And we're going to run the die down until it touches. Then we're going to do the same thing, quarter turn at a time. And a little less. We're just going to slightly bump it over until we get it where we want it. As it comes out, we can see it starting to turn it over. Put a little more lube on there. If you want, you can add a little bit of lube to the punch itself. Alright, we can see it's starting to close it up. Let me grab another one of these. See the difference now? You see the difference between the one we put through the point forming die and one we're using the coarse swage punch. And it's starting to curve this lip over, and it's starting to push it in towards the center. Just get a little bit more of lubricant on there. Make sure that thing's not going to crush. Okay, that's as far as we can go. Now we're going to do the rest of them that way. You want to go a little slow on this. You don't want to hit it hard, because if you hit it hard, what you're going to end up doing is going to accordion this thing, this jacket, and it's going to be ruined. It may not be completely ruined, but it's not going to make it any easier for you to seat the core in there. The cores will sometimes shave off a little bit, and if you have the 9mm swage die set, which if you have a 9mm, you might as well get one. We use that swage die set to seat a gas check, so we can either seal the base off, or we can put a partition inside the jacket itself. And for that purpose, we'll be using a gas check. Okay, now we're done with that. Now we have to back the die out a little bit. I'm going to take this guy out, and we're going to put the swage punch, the flat one, in. And we're going to just lay this on here just like that. We're going to bring it up into the die. We're going to back it out. until we get that a little bit flatter. It doesn't have to be super flat, just flat enough. It's getting there. It's getting there a little bit at a time. There. See how it's nice and flat? It's not flat, flat. This will get really flat once we put the core in there. So once the die is adjusted, the nice thing about it, you don't have to use your mallet to get the jacket out. And you can put it either way, as long as it's the flat side. I'm putting it base up because the face of this is nice and polished and not going to be any drag on here to stop it from doing what it needs to be doing. Okay, there we go. That's that done. And that's how fast you go. It's almost like we're loading ammunition just by sizing and truing up the cases. But we're doing this to make a jacket. Now the jacket is, the jacket is almost complete. There's a couple of things we're going to need to do. And one more operation on this that I've been experimenting with. And we're going to get that done right now.